Broadcasting live very soon. You are live and alive. Boom! On the TruMon Show, episode 309 with my great brother Prashant Trivedi. How are you?
I'm doing fine, Yannick. Hope all is well in Canada and Quebec. So
Yeah. Everything is well. We're under curfew and everything. All the measures are in place. So the big child, the grown up child, stay home after 8 o'clock. But we're gonna get there. Today we're gonna orientate our talk, like I said, more towards the awakening of the baby within us, because I think it's more than clear and evident for many of us, not just me, observing the world today. There's others doing observation, that are, we tend to grow inside, and when we grow inside, we observe more.
Yes.
A child doesn't observe much. Okay.
No.
So that's it. So when you grow inside, you tend to observe, and I observed what's going on in the world, and it's a real, and especially me, I don't want to take this talk also to too negative. Like, I'm not a negative person. I take everything with a lot of positivity. Life is positive. I'm alive. You're alive. We're all here alive. We're under, strict rules from our parents.
Yes.
Because I see the government today as a bit as our parents. They're telling us when to go to bed. They take care of our finance. They do this, that. They make sure that, if we go to a hospital, that we're treated. What parents do normally for children, the government is doing it for you today. Like I said, I don't want to be too negative towards also the government and all that's happening, because if it is happening, it's for a reason. I think it's time for us as humanity to take a deep look within ourselves, because I say always within yourself, because most of the lies you will find in the world today, it's within you. It's within you. So we have to, clear that world of lies inside first. And this, you do it as you grow up. But my talk today, that's it. It's more oriented to the awakening of the baby inside. And I would like you to extend on this and to maybe put a bit of light on why are we such in a baby state, so controlled. So because our parents, that's what they do, and they control us. And when we're young, they have to, because that's the thing to do with children. So why are we still in that? Because here in Quebec, it's curfew. We have to be home. I can only go out if I'm with my dog. Thank God I have a dog. I go out with my dog, but after 8, we have to be home, so it's like... But anyway, all these measures, there's other measures in place, but I would like us to also do, not just observe what's going on, but psychologically, why are we there? Why are we so controlled by fear, so controlled by all kinds of distraction? Why psychologically are we there?
Okay. The thing about this is, like, in the present context and like present day society, because this society has been going on not just right now, since last year or so. This has been going on at least 400 years, or whatever people know of the known history. We will not go further than that back, which we don't have any records of really. We'll go just focus on what has been happening in the last 100 years. So if you look at it, last 100 years, even still, like, I find that the governments were still playing the parent role even before this happened. Okay. You had different kinds of things which people believed in. People believed in the government, people believed in the medical system, people believed in these things already for a long time, like at least 100 years. Okay. So the thing is, like you said, like, it starts when you were very small, when your parents. Okay. So when you are parents, then you tend to give up your own responsibility to the parents, right? Like, so there's a normal thing in the world to not take responsibility for yourself. And so first is the parents, and then when you come out of the lap of the parents, then you take up the lap of the
teacher.
System.
That's teacher in school and stuff. That's
system.
The system.
Okay, so like when 17, 18, okay, then you're coming out of the shadow of the parents that age, and then after that,
Okay, yeah,
what do you take the lap of? Okay,
yeah, the system.
the system. Okay, so then it's a replacement thing which happens. All that happens because people don't want to take responsibility for themselves. But because people don't want to do that kind of thinking, where they realize that you're a being, you're alone, and you will die alone. Like when you die alone. Okay, so you'll have to face the music, not with a parent, not with the system, but alone. That's a fact of human life, because human life has a birth and then there is a death. End of the physical plane. This physical body ends. Okay, so that music happens alone. So as a spirit, as a being, you will have to face that music alone. But this is not the education which is given to beings here, or like people here, by their parents or the system, because it's not in the interest of anyone to give this information. Parents first of all don't even know this information. Okay, and they don't want to give it to you, because if they give it to you, then they will realize that beings will get out of the control much quicker. Then they will say, okay, then what do we do? What is actually to be done? What is the real thing to be done? And they will now have no answers as to what has to be done. System obviously just wants the system to run, and they need some beings, people, to run the machine for them. So you are a cog in the machine. So they just want the cogs, right? So they have no business telling you that no, you should be independent, or you should like sort of work on something yourself, so that you are ready to face the reality after death, or reality of existence in this whole, what is this, universe, multiverse, whatever you want to call it, uh, the whole reality of you as a being. So this whole sense of responsibility is not there from the very beginning, and it's always actually psychologically easier to have this kind of thing where you rely on something without actually having any benefit to yourself. It's survival. Okay, with parents it's a survival, with the system it's survival. Okay, but survival is a temporary thing, like no matter how much you survive in this plane or this world, finally you will die. Nobody survives
Yeah.
forever here in this body, right? You will in the end leave this body, you will pass, like you will actually, this will happen. But this fact is not faced by everyone, that this happens. Okay, so like even when this thing happened this time, so the funny thing was, when I was looking at this thing, a lot of people had to face the reality of death for the first time, even though there was no death happening actually by this scam. But still people came, no, oh, people die. Oh, how many people die every year? Some people, it was like shock to them, like, oh, people actually die. Like, okay, there is there is a thing called that thing, so for some people it was that level of infantile, that's like, it's beyond baby. When you said the
Oh,
word
it's
baby,
beyond. I think.
yeah,
I think I'm polite. I'm polite when I use the word baby. Man. Yeah.
yes, so it's below that
Yeah.
level of perception, you know um, even in a womb, uh,
Exactly.
yeah, like you have some perception, like even any life form can develop some perception. So what I'm saying is that here this whole thing has been going like this for a long time. All this has done in the last year or so has just revealed the thing to be what it is, which according to me is a very good thing, because otherwise it's under the carpet. It's there, but it's under the carpet. Now the carpet is out, and now the whole thing is there for you to see. What the situation actually is, what it really is. In this, what are the beings here doing? What is the level? What level of being they are at? So uh, when you are at that baby level of being, or even below, it's very hard to have a meaningful, positive, evolutionary existence on this plane, because nobody knows anything. They're just like scared babies, you know who are not going to take any responsibility for themselves. Okay, and that is no way to make any kind of um, let's say social or civilizationary effort together for some, because human life is on this plane is a prison life anyways, which I've said many times in talks with
Yes.
you before. If people want to hear, then they can go back to the previous talks. And I've said that this is a prison plane for beings to learn proper manners, proper behavior, so that they can go to higher planes of existence, which don't have limitations of this plane. Limitations of this plane being, like disease, death, old age, nonsense, like so many things you have to survive. Like you have to do all kinds of things out here, which are not there in other planes of existence. So this is a like very temporary place. That's why human body is given for 100 years or 120 years. It's not given for more than that, because it's not meant for that. You don't really want to live 1,000 years in this body and eat and go to bathroom every morning for 1,000 years. You really don't want to do that. So it's not meant for that. Okay, but to even have this kind of education, it has to start early, right? Like everyone should know that. Like when they're 4 5, like what is called school, like school. That's what school should be. Okay, so now at least schools have shut down. That's a good thing. So people are at home, even kids. I mean, they can learn something maybe, which is of
Yeah.
use, which is actually of use. Rather than just learning total nonsense, which will not act, which will totally sort of skip all the facts.
Exactly.
Like you're skipping every fact about human existence on this plane, and then you're just beating about the bush. So that's what school is about. you know so so
In school we should learn about human emotion too. Like I've never been taught about what kind of emotion and how to control my emotion and how to not be so impatient, because the more, that's what I was telling to my children the other day, to Gavin. I said, when you talk to me like that and you're impatient in your voice, it's not kind. You're not being kind, and being kind is being patient. And we're so impatient with everything, with our children, with the people, with the persons around us. I don't like the word people. I don't pee on the pole. So
yeah.
people, I don't like that word. It's so nonsense. And anyway, so that's it. So we have to be more patient, but that's why they say patience is a virtue.
Yeah, but the word people is actually a good word, but I'll explain to you how. People is like the pole, the axis. So all beings actually spin around the pole. And that is always the
Okay.
fact. Yeah, so that's a fact. And that's where the word comes in. And
Okay.
even if beings out here think that they are not spinning around or they're doing things as per what they want, okay, and even the beings who are running this place right now, the temporary acting parents, and they also spin around the pole only. Even they think that they're doing something which is by their own thing, but finally all of that falls into divine plan. Like everything happens in the end for that only. So nobody can get out of that axis effect. So it's not a bad word. But the thing with the emotion thing which you talked about with the children,
Yeah,
the
the
point is
emotion.
that can't be taught to kids until they know something about human existence in the first place. That this body is not temporary, it's not for very long. It's that thing. So that they don't get attached to it in that kind of way. Like to even generate proper sensibilities or patience or all those other qualities,
Yeah.
you need to have a lot of basics clear about this existence in the first place. Because when a being comes, takes this body suit, and it comes onto this earth, they should be told like, okay, this is a body suit, like you're wearing this just like you wear your clothes.
Yeah.
Now it will be only for this much time, and in this much time you are supposed to learn this and this, so that you don't have to wear this suit again. Okay. so
And
yeah.
another thing, also a big proof that we are still in.
Yeah.
I think baby is polite, but like I say, but we're gonna use baby. Is that when we're young, we don't really take care of the suit, the body.
Yes.
When we're young, we're gonna eat all the junk. I tell my children not to eat this, not to eat. Forget about it. They're teenagers. They go out, they buy all kinds of junk food and stuff,
Yes.
and they feed themselves with like the sugar and the everything, all the junk you can imagine. And
Yes.
when we get older, we still do the same.
Yes,
Like
but
we
the thing
never
is that,
stop trashing that body.
yeah, because the point is that they don't understand that this is a suit, or what this body, this tool,
Yeah,
what is this for? There's no education about
exactly.
what this is. You can't just say like, don't do this. That is not going to work. Because why shouldn't I do this? Okay, like what? Okay, you'll get sick later. Okay, but I might not. Nobody thinks that they will get sick later or anything like that.
Yeah.
Point is the basic thing, like what is this for? What is this whole point of having a body? What are you trying to achieve out here with this suit? That kind of core basic education has to be there. Just like when you're in a prison, that okay, you're in a prison and you have to get out, like that thing. You're not meant to stay there forever. Okay, like that kind of thing. So that feeling has to be given to every being who's born here on earth, on this plane. I mean, that should be the education, like, because that's known to everybody that there are diseases here, that there's problems here, there's all kinds of things, there's old age, and there's this thing, and that everybody knows it, but it's not taught to the beings who come. So once people are taught language, cat, bat, rat in the beginning, like ABC, cat, bat, rat, and these kind of things, and then whenever sentences are being shown, first sentences and things like that in any language, it can be French, English, whatever, or Hindi, whatever. So then after that, these are the first sentences they should be taught. Then, look, you are here in this thing, and this is what the situation is, and this is the thing. Then after that, for a being to do that kind of thing will be more difficult. After that kind of education, people will be very like worried, like, okay, like this is like, because you are on a war level situation out here just by being born. Anyways, like, like you are on the front line basically. you know you are like in war basically the moment you are born. Like, it's not, you're not like, people think it's peacetime, because people think war is something like, when two countries are fighting and some soldiers are that thing with each other, or some planes are flying or something like that. This is
And
a different kind of war, but you are in that war zone immediately, so then you need to equip yourself for that.
we are at war because we are bombarded by nonsense
Yes, yes,
right
yes.
at start. So this
Yeah,
is a war on us
yeah.
for sure.
So the quicker a being knows that it's a war, whether it's 4 years old, 5 years old, it's better, right?
Yes.
Why shield this fact?
Yeah.
Oh, this person is too young. This person is too. Nobody's too young
It's
to
a
know the fact or
war.
reality.
Yeah.
Because the earlier you know, the better it is.
Oh, for
So
sure.
yeah, the earlier you come to know, the better it is. Then you are equipped. Like, then it's not a surprise. Everything to people right now in this world is a surprise. Okay, people be like, even this happened. This was a surprise. Oh, governments are like this. Oh, but governments have been like this all the time.
It's always been like that.
It was always been that way. Like, everything is a surprise to them. Everything. If something happens to anybody in their own personal life, it's a surprise. They think, oh, this is the first time. Somebody has an accident. They think, oh, this is the first time. I mean, 100,000 people have accidents all the time. I mean, there are, in this plane, everything is quite in the open. What all happens, it's not a surprise, So,
But
like,
I think the fact that we are still in a baby state, we tend to forget very easily. Also, like children forget very easily. You ask them something, and they're all in the mood, like, oh, what's going? Like, most of the times they don't even know.
yeah, and I'm saying that we have been allowed to be like that. First, parents allow the kids to be like that. Okay, in my view, that's my view of it. That parents allow the kids to be like that. They give them that space. They allow them to be more and more like that, and allow that to happen. Same way, system allows the so-called grown-ups,
Yeah,
to be like that, and they encourage. In fact, since system encourages you to be infantile, system, all the encouragement from the system is to you be infantile. Okay, so the first parents allow for it, then the system allows for it. So both ways, it's allowed to happen. So it can stop at some level. Either the parent level, it can stop. Somewhere it has to stop. And obviously then finally, beings who are awakened, who have broken out of the childishness or the infantilism of here, like the kiddishness, those who are broken up, they can give a sense to the others, just by being or talking like we are talking right now
Exact.
on this
Exact.
thing, to give a sense that there is something more, that what being grown up actually means. Like, it doesn't mean that you are 30 years old or 40 years old, or you have done a job or two, or in the system or the matrix or not, or grown up doesn't mean just making money. you know like
This is a
or
very good point. What you're bringing here. It's not
yeah,
because you're 30, you're 40, you're 50, you're 60, or whatever
yeah,
age you are that you are a
yeah,
grown up. And it's very
yeah,
true. But that you can sense it probably only as you get older. Like if you take my example, for example, at 30, I wasn't seeing the
yeah,
world as I see it today at 47 or at 16 or at 16, I was looking at people of my age today, and I thought they knew everything, and uh, they were grown up. At
yeah,
47, 50-year old, and I'm gonna be 48. So I thought that, but today I take walks in the street, and I'm 48, and I'm probably older than most of the beings around. Like it's young population, and
yeah,
I don't sense that they have grown up. Like I look
yeah.
around and I don't
Because
see them as grown up today because I'm
yeah,
at that age, or I don't know how to
yeah, because
explain
yeah,
my
yeah,
old.
because growing up doesn't happen by age. Growing up happens by education.
Okay, yeah, yeah,
Okay, it doesn't happen just by numbers or years counting
okay,
up. It happens by education. And who can be educated? A being who has learning attitude. Okay, so the being should be ready to learn, and there should be a education should be on the reality of existence. Once you are here, whatever phase the existence, what is this existence we are in, and what is this body, do we have to do, what is this whole thing, this thing is what makes you grow up. So a person can grow up at 5 even, if they face this.
this is
And
very true
yeah,
because I just seen something today. A 3-year-old boy playing drum like a pro.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So don't
yeah,
tell me you cannot learn things from a young age. But here on this earth, in this system, we are kept in a cocoon so young, and like just play with toys. Like your parents give you plastic toys and stuff. And
yeah, yeah.
for us here, some other country might be other things of it.
Yeah. So like it's actually, the education is distorted. They are trying
Yeah.
to teach you some skills. Like now, learning skills is very different from learning facts or facing reality of existence. So drums is just a skill set. Okay, so even yeah, like you said, 3 years, 4-year-olds. Like there are so many people in YouTube who can play all kinds of things and who
Yeah.
can do all kinds of things, and so all of that ability is possible at that age. Skill ability. So then education is also possible. Okay,
Exact.
but that is not what is given. Nobody's interested in that, because they don't think that is where you make money. They think that you make money with these skill sets. Okay, and this is what is useful in this world. you know but in the end, what is useful in this world or anything beyond is actually the reality of this world and the education of this world. That is useful, really useful. Other things are not useful. You can play drums, okay, but then that won't stop you from drinking bad food, or having Coca-Cola,
No,
or
for
any
sure.
of these things, or
Exact.
any, like, this is not any kind of education for anybody, like in any which way, which will help them train themselves for this life or beyond. you know so that's the whole point. Like, the focus is not on education. Education is the actual reality of what is this human body, why am I here, what is all this, like, what is this world, are there other worlds, you know what kind of existence is this, where you are born, then you have some diseases and some struggles, and then you grow old and your body decays, then you die. you know, it doesn't look like a very pleasant sort of existence, you know. So if situation is that, even if there was no system, I would say, like, let's just imagine there was no government, no system at all here. This would still be the reality of human birth, you know. This reality will not go away, whether there was a system or not a system, you know. So this will still happen, you know. So we have to go to that core level and get education on that core level. So then the system or not system does not even matter, you know, because
Exactly.
that is immaterial.
So true.
Yeah, whether this system exists there or not doesn't exist there. Your own reality of your own existence in this body is of more importance than anything out there, you know. So that's the kind of education which is required, which will actually break people out of the system. When people, you know, say like, oh, I want to break out of the system, now a lot of people want to break out of the system because they're finding the system is too encroaching on their so-called individual rights.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, so now they want to break out of the system, right? Suddenly, you know. But the real breaking out of the system is when you actually take control of yourself and discipline yourself, you know. That is, if you are a being like that, you are never part of the system and you never will be, okay, whether it's there or it's not there, you know.
It's
So
huge. It's huge what you said there, because you said the system or not, we have to go to the core and
yeah,
educate ourselves on what are we here, what are we doing, what, you know.
yeah,
It's the outside world is so far from
yeah,
what you're saying, because it's so inside and we have so much to do inside, but we worry so much about the outside. And the complaining part also I want to get to. It's
yeah,
funny to see how people like me and you do not complain about what's going on too much, like we're not in the street, and like we take this with positivity because we know
yeah,
that this is meant to happen some way somehow.
yeah,
And but you see on the other side all the supposedly grown-ups in the world that are
yes,
complaining like babies to their
yes,
parents, the government.
yes, yes. I mean, if parents impose a curfew on their
Yeah,
kids at home, even the kids are going to complain, right? That's when the kids complain, right? that,
exactly.
that, that's what that's going to happen, you know. And obviously, whenever they have to make this curfew, they can make up anything. The parents can make up anything. It doesn't have to be real, any of it. And like right now also, it's not real whatever has been given, and it has never been real. So but the point is, why are you in this situation in the first place? Why are beings not asking, like, okay, if somebody has a kid, why don't they ask the kid, who are you, like when they're 3 or 4, like why don't they ask these kind of questions to them, like, what do you think you are, like, we have given you a name, okay, but you're not that name, okay, that is just been given by us, okay,
Exactly.
like, okay, you're not that, so what are you, what do you think you are, like, you have this hands, you have this body, you have this nose, you have this eyes, what do you think you are, like, you can ask these kind of questions to a kid, and you can make them go towards that direction, right? Like where they start questioning,
Yes.
what is this whole thing about? Because if you don't question in that direction, you will never find the answer either. Okay, first you have to have the train of questioning going in that direction, then only you get an answer. Once you get an answer, then comes application, applying that answer into your actions. Okay, so there are 3 steps. First is querying, like going in that direction. Second is getting the answer. Third is applying the answer. Okay, but like the querying thing should start from very small, you know, because everybody can wonder, like any even kid looks up at the sky, you know, they immediately think like, oh, what is all this, what are all these stars, what is this? It's natural curiosity, right? Like, you know,
It's
what is,
natural. Yeah.
yeah, you look up at the sky and suddenly you feel like, what is this, like, I don't know what this is. And you have this feeling like even in this world, like, I mean, some beings, like, when I came into the world, it was like an alien world to me anyway, so I have that feeling from when I was very small. And if someone doesn't have that feeling from very small, at least parents can introduce it, because when they have spent more time here, they have gotten to that feeling at some point, you know, where they cannot tell what is all this, like, you know, like where this is, like, so at least they can't give them answers, I know that they don't have the answers, but they can start the process of questioning in the right direction, at least. Okay. Yeah.
At the
Yes. So,
very least, and this is
yeah.
what I often tell my
Yeah.
own mother, it's a
Yeah.
minimum of questioning, but they do not want to question because they have all the answers. And when you talk to them, it's evident, like I'm talking to you about my near family, my parents and stuff, they have all the answers, and you're the one completely out of line. So, we live
Right.
in this kind of world where people have their eyes completely shut or open a little bit, but like a horse that's going on a race. They're like they don't look on the side at
Yeah.
all, and
Yeah. Deliberate blinkers. They put
yeah,
blinkers on their
the
eyes
blinkers.
deliberately. So the point is that, like, in all these people, you have to ask, okay, so what do you know? Like, if you think you know everything, so, like, do you know even what disease is going to happen to you? If somebody's old, there's, let's say, 70 years old, you can ask them, like, so do you know what disease is going to happen to you in the future? No, they can't answer.
They can
You know,
answer.
they can't answer it. Like, they don't know anything. So then you say, you don't know. You really don't know. What you have. I mean, if you really want to catch people, like, what? Like, even I'm not taking past deaths because they don't have any answers past that. I know that. Like, but what I'm saying is, even within this lifetime, what is going to happen to them in the next 5 minutes? They don't know. You know. So that is the fact. Okay, but, like, people just have to be told this fact, even if they negate you. Even if they negate you on surface, they might say, like, no, no, nothing like it, like that, but it will somewhere stay with them.
That's what I tell myself.
Yeah, 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 because it's not like how they are behaving in response, you know and it is just what actually stays with them, because it is a thing which everybody has to face. Every human being has to face this fact that even their next 5 minutes are not known to them. Okay, and things can happen within the next 5 minutes which you can't expect or you have no idea. Okay, like, so,
But
yeah.
that's big what you're saying there, because there's all kinds of stuff to program us to know the next 5 minutes, the next day, the next week, like the
Yeah.
weather, the schedule on the TV, anything, the calendar. So
Yes,
we
yes.
know everything that's going to happen in the future in
Yeah,
our illusion
these are
world.
numbers. You can say these are numbers, like 21, 30, 31,
Yeah.
32, whatever. These are numbers, or whatever, hours, or whatever. But actually, what happens to you in the next 5 minutes is not known. When you will slip, when the roof might fall on your head, what happens to you when nothing is clear and known, like, at all. Like Jim saying, a person can have a heart attack in just 30 seconds.
Heart
Yeah,
attack. Someone very close to me just had a heart attack Sunday. He
yeah,
was in good shape, but he
yeah,
never thought he would
yeah.
have a heart attack.
Yeah, so what I'm
Boom.
saying is, anything can happen. Like, okay, so
Yeah.
once you face this reality of this existence, that this is existence, like this human existence, then even the facing of this fact makes you a different person completely. Like, I'm just telling you a very small thing, a very simple small thing. Just if you face that, it changes you on a psychological level. You're not that baby anymore, which we talked about, that baby.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay, like, you are not that baby anymore
Okay.
just by facing this one thing.
Yeah. Often it takes a tragedy also, like this, a heart attack or whatever, the roof fall on your head, or if you
Yeah, but
survive
that
it.
is automatic. That is after it happens. You have to know things before they happen. You have to
Yeah.
know that this is the situation. We are in this situation. Every human being, not just me, you, or anybody. Everybody is in this situation. Like, nobody can be sure of the next 5 minutes, on this earth. Where there is land, there is sea right now. Where there's land, there can be sea. Where there's sea, there can be land. In,
Yeah.
in 5 minutes. So, like, nobody can be sure of anything. Yeah, like, no weather people, like, weather people are so funny, because whenever things happen, they say it happens. Tomorrow they say, like, rain. It'll be totally sunny. Then they'll change the forecast to sunny. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just an attempt, but reality is that nothing is in human hands in terms of all of that. All you have in your hands is what your body does.
Yeah.
In the every moment you are actually living, every moment you're living here, only thing in your hand is what your body is going to do. That's all. Like what your eyes are going to see, what your mouth is going to speak, what your hands are going to do, what you will do, that is in your hands. Nothing else is. Okay. Just realization of this realizing this one simple point will not keep you in that baby state. You will become a grown up immediately.
Exactly. Like
Immediately.
it's a good thing to become a grown up. Like we're all very anxious also when we're teenagers to become grown ups, but we never reach that state really internally.
Because this education is not there. What I'm saying is that nobody talks like that. No one speaks these things out. This is not a normal conversation in this world.
Oh, no.
It's not a conversation which is happening in every house, in every home, with every kid, with every teenager, which should be happening. You know, I mean, if you don't have this conversation, what other conversation can you have here on Earth? I mean, that's the fact of being on Earth. You know, like there is no other communication even possible, like until you have this thing clear, like, you know, and that only thing which is in our hands are our own actions, and then only being will know that I have to control these actions, or I have to make something of these actions which have to go in a certain direction. If you don't even know that, you will not have this impulse to even control these actions. And you said that people do whatever, and the kids are doing whatever, and the teenagers are doing whatever, they're out of control because they have no understanding why should I control my actions.
And why is some people grasp that the fact of facing facts very easily? They open their eyes, they see very clear what's going on, and others, they open their eyes, but it's still blurry, and they can't grasp the fact that the government is lying to them, even though it's in the word, the very own word, ça gouvernement.
Okay, that's like, because there's a difference in.
So why?
Fear and it's fear. There is a word called fear. Okay, beings think that they're afraid. You know, like they're afraid to face facts. You know, like as if, because the facts are not pleasant.
This is true. We have talked about this. Remember.
Because the facts of life on this plane are not pleasant.
Yeah.
That's why there's a fear of facing them. Exactly. And there are some people who are not so afraid, but they're lazy, because they realize that once if they face the facts, then they will have to do something about it. What is the next step? Okay, if you face something, what is the next step? And the next step is you have to take some action now. Yeah. Okay. So they don't want to take the action. They want to just stay in the same thing where you can carry on the same thing. There's no change, because change requires more action than maintaining the status quo. Maintaining the status quo requires a different action, and facing the facts and changing your action requires a totally different approach. You know, so people are afraid of that.
So we prefer, what you say is, we prefer the known fear over the unknown fear.
Yeah. And on top of that, we think that the action which will be required after facing the facts will be more action than the action we have to do in order to survive in this world. Okay. Yes. But the reality is different. The action which we do just to survive in this world is actually more than the action we will need to do after facing the facts. So
true, because
you have more inside people's mind that, oh, if I face the facts, then I'll be an outlaw, or if I'm out of the system or outcast or whatever, you know, then I will have to do much work, much harder. Do you know what I'm saying? But that's not so, because the work which is to be done with the body and to align with the divine will or multiversal will, or what we are supposed to do as humans, is easier than a lot of the jobs out here on planet Earth. You know, so a lot of things which people have to do in the name of like survival, or in the name of making it out here, or all kinds of things on this matrix, and they are much more.
We tend to isolate ourselves also from the force, because the force, talking about the I don't know, God, the force, call it
Yeah.
whatever you want.
Yeah, force divine. Yes, yes.
The divine is a
Yeah,
great word.
yeah, yeah,
That's it. We tend to shield ourselves from that
yeah.
existing. We prefer to go to religion, to have something known again in front of us, to priest someone telling us stuff,
Yeah.
than to venture into the divine path and find your way as a being
Because
here on earth. Like there's that
because
thing.
everyone is under a misnomer that will be more difficult.
Yeah, but it's much easier. It's so much like PT.
Yeah,
I told you stuff offline. That have
yeah,
happened. That not only to me, to you, to others that are opening their eyes. It's much easier navigating these troubled waters with the divine within
yes,
you on your
yes,
side.
yes,
Whatever.
yes. It is easier, but beings don't know that. Beings think, people think in there that things that if they face the facts, they will have to do this thing, and whatever this, what they'll have to do after that, this action which they will have to take, which will be tougher than the action they have to take to stay in the system or stay in the matrix or stay in the survival mode here. But the reality is what you need to do out here is tougher because it carries on not just for this lifetime, it'll carry on for the next lifetime, and it's just over and over this groundhog day repeat loop of nonsense and action. It's hard work. Like it's not easy to survive in this major. People do the schooling of 12 years, right? Then they do go to the college for 4 years. Okay. Then you become a little apprentice at a shop, a job, and then that takes a while. And then you're just continuously working hard and hard, just finally to just like survive, like have a home and some food and some that thing, like that's what you're doing on this plane, just doing all this, which is I consider much more harder work for nothing. The work which is required actually from a human being with a human body in order to for them to break out of this prison and not take this life again or this birth again is easier. But their education is not there. Nobody tells that, look, you don't have to be afraid of facing the facts. After they face the facts, whatever work is required is actually easier. you know so a lot of people don't do that because they think it's going to be some great thing they'll have to do now, like I'm climbing Mount Everest 10 times over. you know they think that they will have to do this, like, or like in the West they create all this sense of, like, like, oh, it's like surviving in the jungle by yourself, or like you'll have to like fight the bear with your own hands in the, like, something like that. Like they create this kind of image of that, which is nonsense. you know it will not lead to any of this. you know
Yeah, because
like,
we are controlled by fear, but the fear
yeah,
of the stuff we know, like not because also how many of us go venture into the wild?
yeah,
Not too many.
yeah,
Not too many will go into the wild and venture alone in the
yes,
wild. I'm
yes,
talking about the really in the woods,
yes,
in the
yes,
jungle. How many of us do that?
yeah, yeah,
Like
because
we
in
prefer
order
go
to do
to a
that,
zoo. We prefer go
yeah,
to a zoo and see them there. We sense the danger seeing a lion in a zoo, but we
yeah,
know that they're not gonna come and attack us, like because the fear is known.
yeah, yes, yeah. I mean, all of that is obviously a very crazy thing to keep the animals like that and go see
Yeah,
them
yeah,
there. It's
yeah, yeah.
obviously it's a mental craziness. But point is to go to the wild. Even you need some education, right? That's why people don't go there. You need to be educated as to how to live there or how to survive there or whatever. You know, some education is required. Nobody can just step in out there without any education, like Jim said. They're just going to hurt themselves. And at worst, like die, Jim saying, because that's what's going to happen. But my point is this: like that's where like education comes into everything. And my point is what you have to do with the human body, where Earth is provided all kinds of different things, and different foods for us, anyways, and like to have like a simple, easy life, you know, like, and all of those things are there. Like, what do we have to do with the human body even after we have eaten? food, and then they have energy, what to do with it. There has to be education on that, because even if a person goes to wild and they survive there, that's not a big deal, like
PT,
it's not the survival.
keep talking, because my
Yeah.
dog is getting sick. He wants to go out. Hold on.
Yes, yes, yes.
Hold on, PT, I'm coming. Okay. Sorry.
Yes, no problems. So the point was,
Kelowna wasn't feeling good.
yeah, it's okay. I was just saying that even if a person goes to the wild and survives there, that's not a big deal. Like, okay, you can learn some skills and you can learn some info, and then you can survive out there. But that's not the point. It's the point is like you'll eat out there. Okay, then you'll have some energy. Then what will you do with that energy? Is the survival is not the whole thing. Like with the human bodies, we're not here just to survive. We have to do some other actions with it in order to make it possible for us to not take this body again.
Exactly.
Because this is not a fun exercise or loop to take this body again like a groundhog day, like the TruMon show or different, and it's not a pleasant experience every time, to be born and then grow up like as a baby and then again not have any knowledge, and then have all this, whatever you learn something, you get some knowledge, and then you die, and then you get another life, but your memory is wiped again. You don't know anything again, and then you start all over again. So it's not a good cycle to be in, So all this thing, people have to realize that realization has to be there, So that's why people who even survive in the wild or anything like that, that doesn't give them that knowledge of breaking out of this matrix. You have learned to survive in another part of the matrix, but you have not learned how to break out of the matrix. That's
Okay.
so people have to understand that, like, so what do we have to actually learn here? And this is the education what I'm talking about. This education will make any baby into a grown up within one day.
Yeah, because even me, you're
within
helping
one
me
day.
today, no?
Within one day, a baby will become a grown up. Like I'm not saying it's going to take years. It'll happen in one day. Baby will become grown up.
You
In
are
one day.
helping me with what you're saying, so you are helping others for sure. And
Yeah. Why we are the baby is because we don't know this. We don't go into this. We don't face any of these facts. That's why. It's as simple as that. You face these facts. You hear about this. You talk about this. You go into this. You will not be a baby anymore. A person
that's for sure.
who goes out to the forest and lives out there in the jungle, they can be more than a baby, like, but from a spiritual sense, they're still a baby, even if they survive out there, because they still haven't faced this fact about human existence. That it's not just about survival.
Yeah, I wasn't really seeing it this way, but what you're saying makes a lot of sense there. And that's why I'm a bit more grown up today. I can grasp the common sense, like this is common sense. But you have sometimes to be told or to be enlightened
education
on certain topic to see the common sense in there. So
yes, the education and that thing, because that should be like it's everyone's business, because everyone's business, everyone has got this human body, who has got this human body out there. It's everyone's business. What is this about? It's everyone's business. Everyone has only one business.
Exactly.
It's what is this about? Nobody has any other kind of business. Even if they made 100,000 businesses out here, million businesses, but real business is this only. And then beings have to, and in growing up is automatically going to happen. And if beings become like that, like you have to see, like there'll be no system, government, none of this will exist even.
Exactly.
It'll automatically disappear, everything.
There's something also like keeping us locked in that baby states is that we seems to have lost the sense of certain big words like responsibility, honesty, integrity, facing facts. Because I think if we just take the word responsibility, where is our responsibility for food, water, and shelter? Like, we should be able to provide this for ourselves, to provide ourselves some food, water, and shelter.
There's enough on earth for this. Like, there's no problem. That's not the problem. That's not what the problem. Responsibility is responsibility, actually. Ability to respond. Now, that is different. When you tell a kid this thing which I've told you today, when you tell some 4-year-old and you're talking to them, now they'll have to respond to you. So ability to respond to that is responsibility. That is a human responsibility.
Okay.
Not that word by itself is to ability to respond to actual facts and truths about human existence of your life, which you are also in a body. That kid is also in a body. So it has to face that and respond to you about that.
So where does food, water, and shelter
that
important to you for a being
which is provided by nature to human beings everywhere?
Okay. So you're saying that we shouldn't have such a worry about. But what I'm saying, a responsibility for food, water, shelter, is that for food, we go to supermarkets. For water, we turn on the tap. And for shelter, we ask someone else to build us a home.
So that is happening because the society got built like that a lot of people who are not doing things directly, they are not directly growing the food because of mechanization. What happened was small number of people could grow large amount of food for large amount of people. Now, so all those people whom they were growing food for, they didn't have to grow their own food. Then there were some people who were obviously not growing the food now, and they didn't have any other job to do. Then those people were put to building the homes because they started doing the construction job. Now slowly like this happens, then everybody gets alienated from those tasks. But I'm not even saying that everybody has to do those tasks, that everyone should. I mean, there is enough, like earth is giving. How humans organize that's up to humans. Like whether you have 20 people doing this, people can do whatever they feel like better. Like some people do feel like doing this better, some people feel like doing that better. As per their own impulse or their own tendency, they can do whatever they feel like in providing the basic necessities. Basic necessities should be taken care of, and that is taken care of, obviously. When basic necessities are taken care of, when you're talking to someone, obviously when you're talking to someone, that means they've already eaten and they're alive. So when you bring up these points to them, they should understand, that like we are only talking right now, like obviously like I'm talking to you, you're talking to me, people who are listening to this, they've all eaten. That's why they're able to listen to us. Their all basic needs have been met. Then that's why this conversation is even happening. So my point is, once we have done all of that through the bounty of the earth, we have gotten the basics of human life. Then what after that? What do we do? Because that's a very small part for human being to get that. What do we do then? What do we do with that energy which comes from eating food? How do we use your body? What do we do with the body?
I think we should learn things first. Learn to do things with our body, and then
like what do we do, like action? But there is the action for everything here. If you do certain actions, you will get certain things, certain results. Each action of you do with the body will have certain results in the multiverse. Now you have to know what these results are, and do you want the results? Because each action will have a consequence. Now you have to learn whether you want that consequence or not before you do the action. Right? So that's where it's better to not do action. Better to not do action with the body. until you are sure about what action you're doing, what it will lead to, and what will be the consequence. So different people have different goals. They might want different goals. But as per their goal, their action has to lead them to that goal. Obviously, the best goal is to get out of the cycle of birth and death. That's the best goal. For that, you have to do certain kind of actions. But if you have a goal within this matrix itself, and you want to reach that goal, you will have to do certain kind of actions. Point is, your actions have to be very well clear in terms of consequences before you take any action with this tool called body.
But most goals and dreams that most people have is just to become someone in society. Like
that is also because they are not giving this education which I told you, which make a baby into a grown up. That education once it's given to people earlier, let's see how many people want anything after that. Even if they still do, they still can go for it, but at least they're aware of something bigger.
Exactly. So, I think there's things, that we do once we recognize all this. There's many action can take with your body. Me, the first action I did with my body was unplug the TV. That was done, but there's other action you're gonna do, and for sure.
There are a lot of actions. Like what that is like your action with the eyes. What are you gonna see or not see? You're making a decision because eyes are part of your body, right? So what are you gonna see? What are you gonna hear? What are you gonna speak? What are you gonna eat? What are you gonna do once you eat? Why are you gonna how are you gonna treat your body? What action? What speech? What everything you do with your body? You will have to first realize, and this education should be given to young people. Look, everything you do with this body, you will have to first consider. Don't do just like that. Consider first, because every action has a reaction and it's got a consequence. Okay, so that's even so-called fake science will not disagree with that. Okay, that actions have reaction. So action, consequence, all of these things should be known to little kids, 5-6-year-old. Why should they not know these things?
You were talking a little bit earlier about facing the music. Okay, and it's weird the way this world is inverted again. I know pretty much everything's inverted, but you go face the music, because I always found that a bit weird, the big concerts and big amount of people watching artists on stage and stuff like that. Like, we face the music, but we face the music in concerts. We don't really face the music of life.
Music is actually a code name for reality. Like, it's not music, what people hear in concerts and stuff. When they say facing the music, it means facing reality of human existence. Okay.
No, I know, but we are programmed to face the music this way.
That is not. Obviously, that is not any kind of. That is just like a time pass. People are just gathering together and passing time in that thing way, with where you just gather together with all people of your age and your community, and you just pass time. It's nothing to do with facing anything. In fact, that is there so that you don't have to face anything, or you don't have any time to face anything. Like, because if you were home sitting, you might have to face something. So yes.
So the whole that's why I say that I take this with a lot of positivity. What's happening, that the bars are closed, restaurants are closed, even schools were shut down, like people home after 8. Like now I go take a walk after 8 o'clock. There's no noise, and it sleeps so good too, because there's no noise in the street. It used to be very, very noisy. Now we seem to have, PT, my question to you is also, what do you see that they want to do with this? Is it some kind of reset for humanity to bring us back to 1970 type style living, or like no internet, nothing? Because do you think at one...
I mean, from my point of view, which I've said like many times, this is a very good thing which is happening, that people have to now reflect on their lives. Running has been stopped. Like, if you're continuously running, right, you don't have any moment of self-reflection, right?
For sure.
Yeah. So like what happened with you after your accident? Like the same thing is happening with people as a whole, everyone now. So but that was a good thing, right? That was a positive thing.
Oh yeah, oh
Okay.
yeah. It was a tragedy, but it's the best thing happened to me in my life.
Yeah. Okay. Now this is happening on a collective level. Okay. But now people are forced to do that thing. Now they'll have to do this self-reflection. And in this self-reflection, they will have to get to this point, what I talked about to you today.
Yeah.
If they don't get to this point, then the result will be that only fear, chaos, anarchy, nonsense, all kinds of negativities will be the result. So now the situation is very simple. Either you go this way or you face the music. You know.
True. That's it.
Okay,
It's simple.
Like, it's very simple. So whenever
Yeah.
things get simple, it's a good thing, you know. And what their agenda is not very important in this. Why this reset is happening? It's a reset, but their agenda is not so important. What is important is what people make of it. They are not controlling what you're going to do about it. When in your own, when you are in the house, how you use your time, and that's up to you. It's not up to them. Okay. And they are not doing anything about that. Okay. So it is up to you to, because net is still there. You can still listen to this, what I'm saying, you know. So you can listen to this broadcast or that thing. So you have an option of, doing the right thing or going into the right direction using this, and then once you go in that direction, then finally you grow up. You take this time to grow up instead of being a baby. This is
Exactly.
that thing on the talk. So this is the ideal opportunity to do that. Can't be better than this.
Can be better than this. I
And
don't.
because
That's it.
because even like when the baby is there, okay, when you talk to a baby or any kid, like what is the hard thing with a kid? The hard thing with a kid is to make them sit down for 2 minutes in order to talk.
Yeah.
Okay, because they're always on the run. Okay, they're always running here and there. They're always on the run. That's the thing with them, isn't it? But now they're being forced to sit down. Okay, so which cannot be such a bad thing. That is the time to actually speak to them. Because
I like to say the fact that you say we're all on the run, and that's why also they promote so many marathons and running stuff. And I don't think the human body is really made to run constantly. You know? Like
no, obviously,
I don't.
Human body is not made for any of these things.
I'm just emitting my own opinion, but I don't think we're built up for marathon. So
yeah, but
what is this thing to encourage always to run until you're exhausted? Because they say it's the worst thing to develop a heart attack is running.
Yes, obviously, it is just different ways which they have given humans to actually waste their time and energy. Okay, what do human beings have?
Oh, that's good. Oh, sorry, but that's good. That's true.
Yeah, but
It's
but
the way you say it. It's just the way you say
human
it.
beings have time and energy, right? Okay, so I mean, so how to make it, how to waste it instead of that getting to any use for their own evolution. If they don't waste it there, they might use that time and energy for their own evolution, right? And escape the clutches of their masters and get out of this prison. That's all.
That's it. Okay.
That's all it is. That's why I mean all this has been given. And you have to create more and more of those things. For the people to do that. So
exactly. So PT, I think we have went through pretty much all my notes here and all my stuff that I wanted to touch with you. I thank you very much again, and it was a pleasure and honor always to have you on the TruMon show. We can do it maybe a bit later, maybe another one during the summer when summer comes, when the real new year arrives. Maybe we get together again to celebrate spring and
Yes. Yes.
the summer coming, because it's coming soon. I can feel it.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
gonna be here soon. So thank you very much, and everyone also watching live. We don't do this to attract. I've never done this to attract attention. I do this because it's kind of necessary after having observing the world I live in and realizing certain stuff. It's
Yes.
necessary that some of us that maybe, like PT said earlier, see a bit more clear through all this, that we share our opinions and our because we are entitled to have an opinion. I like that word. You have it in your book too. So that's it. We're out. Boom. See ya.